Welcome back to Third Phase Moon. Blake Cousins here, and we have a special guest for you. Do you want to see some UFO videos, some incredible sightings? Well, there's a man out there from Australia who captures his own videos of UFOs. We got Peter Maxwell with us. Thanks for joining us.
G'day Blake, thanks for having me on.
All right, Peter, well, let's get to it. I want to ask you straight up. There is a lot of sightings going on around the world. What about Australia? What's the most recent UFO sighting for you?
I'm having sightings all the time, but one of the most recent ones was earlier this year where I filmed a flying saucer. Whoa, that's crazy. Basically, I started to see it come over. And I was with a friend, and luckily enough, I was able to get the camera out, capture it as it went away into the distance. Now that, along with a lot of the evidence that I've been able to obtain over the years, has been analysed by Jason Gleaves, who's ex-UK Air Force and Aerospace. He analysed that footage, and also a lot of the other bits of footage I have, along with Jaime Maussan's group, Terza Millennia, Japanese television and Australian television. So a lot of this has been analysed, but the sightings are continuous.
Well, if you're ever troubled by strange lights in the sky or unexplained moving objects, the truth could be out there. A border man has founded a group aimed at probing the paranormal, and he's here to help.
Well, many of us think UFOs are the stuff of fantasy, but an Australian man claims they are closer to reality than we think. Peter Maxwell Slattery says he's spotted them many times near his Albury home in New South Wales, and now he claims to have the proof. Peter joins us now. Good morning to you. Thanks for coming in.
Peter Maxwell Slattery, okay, Peter Maxwell Slattery.
Watch it. And with Ecity stands for Enlightened Contact with Extraterrestrial Intelligence. It was founded by James Gilliland, who lives in Trout Lake, Washington State, and we teamed up a few years ago. I've been doing this sort of thing for about 10 years, but we decided to bring me in after I was asked to do it under the umbrella of Ecity. And so here in Australia, we hold public skywatches and workshops. Most of these start in the day, in the afternoon, and go into the night, because most of the footage I'm obtaining is during the daytime. So what we do is we get a group collective consciousness going on, and we ask and invite the beings to come in if they can do so. Sometimes they can't. It's just like calling up a friend. Sometimes they can come, sometimes they can't. We have things happening like crafts landing in apparition form, beings appearing in apparition form, and there is contact happening on a continuous basis, which this has been going on for many years now.
Oh, look at that power up! Yeah! Whoa, that is massive, man!
Nice!
Yeah! Whoa!
Unlike a lot of CE5 groups, I try to keep it basic. We have used EMF meters, Geiger counters, audio recording devices to try and capture anomalous readings or sounds, but mainly I'm using a 4K Panasonic camera for the daytime footage, and at night time I've started using a Psionics Aurora night vision camera, which is actually coloured night vision, and I'm seem to be getting a lot of activity on that.
Another one coming behind it. There's 3 of them. One shot. Look at this one. Orion's a hot spot.
So Peter, I want to get your true insight on what you think these anomalous objects are. Are they interdimensional? Are they one of ours? Some kind of government military experiment, or something otherworldly? What's your thoughts?
Well, from my experience, I know a large majority of what I am interacting with. There is still sometimes I have anomalous events, high strangeness, or I see things that I can't explain if I don't have a dialogue. Because sometimes even when I'm filming the craft, I'm actually on the craft and I can see myself looking down on myself as I'm filming it, if that makes sense. It's almost like this mind meld, this consciousness connection. So I do have interactions with these beings. I know exactly who some of them are. So with saying that, a majority of what I'm filming is otherworldly. It's multi-dimensional technology. Some of them are plasma crafts. Some of these are flying saucers. Some of them are morphing shape, shifting crafts, cigars, triangles, you named it, I've captured it and filmed it with witnesses around the world. So with that said, some of these are beings that live and reside beside us. Some of them are from the inner earth, and some of them are from other places in this dimension, in this solar system and beyond, and some of them are from what I call the star nations. It seems to be a conglomerate of Orions, Sirians, Pleiadians, Lyrans, Arcturians, Andromedans, Crux beings from Pegasus. There's a whole wide host, and then I'm given references for other galaxies as well where they're residing or where they come from, but it's not just in the third dimension. These beings are coming in from different vibrational frequencies or densities, dimensions.
Watch it, watch it, watch it, watch it, watch it, watch it, watch it.
So if you've been following what's been going on in the US, Peter, I'm sure you're aware that our own governments are admitting that there are things in the skies that they can't explain. Do you think UFO disclosure is just right around the corner?
We are being drip-fed disclosure right now, and what it comes down to is us, the people, educating each other, which is one of the main things that I want to do with Ecity. Besides people experiencing the crafts and the beings themselves, it's about education on a public format, about educating people on the ET reality and the multidimensional reality that we exist in. So we are being drip fed through these types of news stories. It's, you know, even the young kids now, they don't have to be told about disclosure. They know that we're not alone, but it seems that people are looking for that government figure, this authority type figure to say, look, this does exist. And we've got, you know, Project Blue Book that had 700 anomalous cases that were left unsolved out of 10,000 plus. And we're sort of really getting nowhere looking at the old cases, the old stories, but there is this new stuff coming forth. And I believe that this is a slow drip of disclosure. Even with President Trump with the Space Force, from my intel on the insiders and with the extraterrestrials from the information, what's going on is that he found out about the Space Force and he wanted to release it as if he's creating one because it's already in existence. So what they're going to do is release the Space Force, which has already been implemented since the 1950s, and everyone's going to think it's brand new, but it's been around for a long time. So we're going through a drip disclosure method, but it's up to us, the people, and the quicker we can band together and we can work together on this, disclosure is going to be an overnight thing eventually.
You've been doing this for a long time, Peter. What's your involvement for 2019 and into 2020 in regards to bringing more eyes to the subject of the UFO phenomenon happening right now around the world?
This is a full-time thing for me. I'm an international best-selling author. Some of the books have been channeled. I've done numerous documentaries, and so I dedicate my time to doing helping the public understand the ET reality and the spiritual aspect of that, because it's not just nuts and bolts. A very minimal part of this is nuts and bolts, and even the ET part of it is a very minimal thing, because a lot of what we're interacting with, surpassing the ETs, is beings that come from what I call the geometric light realm. So they come from a completely different place that resides in source or universal consciousness, and understanding that, you can understand how we're all one consciousness interacting with itself. So I do go in depth very much so with the information that I've been given. I do readings or guide sessions helping people be able to have contact themselves in whatever format that they want. And so there's been a lot of opposing forces. I've been blacklisted at a lot of places. I've had, you know, I always get black helicopters flying over, government involvement with surveillance, these types of things. I've filmed extraterrestrials and taken photos of them. I've got metal samples, landing circle where the soil samples have been tested and analysed for anomalous activity or results in them as well. So what's going on here is sort of being shut out from the rest of the world, which is why I appreciate you having me on your show. But this is trying to cover all aspects in educating the public. And so this is part of why I'm here, and this is what I do.
Do you think some of the sightings that you're capturing over the skies are in relation to the new 6th military branch of the United States, the Space Force?
Look, we have Pygar since 1966, which is near the middle of Australia. It's a joint space defence facility with the USA, so it's Australia and America working together. Now, some of these objects worldwide, and I'm sure I've seen a few of them, because usually I get a feeling where there's like robotic interaction with them, meaning there's nothing sort of there. You can tell it's a robot type of device. And there are drones, even with filming stuff, I've filmed balloons, drones, aircraft as reference points for what I'm filming that are anomalous. So we've got a difference there, but there are these objects around the world being seen that can and could be part of the Space Force. But with that said, I believe a large majority of it is not seen in cities where it's largely populated areas. I have been warned that when we start to come to closer for a public format of disclosure, there will be the truth wrapped in a lie, is how it's been explained. So some of this will be secret operations revealing some of these crafts, or they'll release the triangle craft and say that it's ours, which some of them are. Some of them are an Andromedan craft and from other races as well. So there is that aspect that some of what we are seeing is government, is secret projects, is ARVs, alien reproduction vehicles as well. So it's not just a black or white answer on all this, that the shade of grey in the middle is huge and vast.
So I see you're using the techniques of Ecity. Did you come up with this yourself? Did you learn it from Dr. Stephen Greer, Bingham? Where did it come from?
Well, I think what you're referring to there, or what we're talking about, is CE5, which is Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, which is where you initiate contact. This is something that I haven't been taught. It's something that there's no manual to. And there are people teaching it like Dr. Greer and James Gilliland and plus many other people as well. What I specialise in is doing it in a group setting, but then helping individuals being able to do it themselves through methods that work for them. So what works for me may not work for somebody else, but I know a large variety of methods to where I can hone in on how people operate. Whether it's got to do with their third eye or sensations or thoughts, these are sort of the three keys on how this works. So meditating, putting out the thought to connect with beings that are in line with the awakening and healing process of humanity that we would like to have a group contact setting with and learn about each other. And so it's something that I've learnt my own way, but meeting others in the field and through the extraterrestrials themselves, I've been able to fine-tune it over the many years that I've now been doing it.
So if we're to assume that these objects, these unidentified flying objects in the skies are not one of ours, then what the heck are they? Where are they coming from? Are they drones from an extraterrestrial civilization, or what's going on here, Peter?
Look, it's a little bit of all the above. Sometimes they'll send out these plasma orbs or even more of a metallic physical type device from the craft to go and scout areas, check areas out. So there is some of them where they're like drones or droids from another civilization elsewhere. Some of them are beings in their Merkaba, which is their light field. So we may see a weird type object in the sky, but sometimes it's just a being in its light field. And how this operates is they break down to an electron, which is a negative charged subatomic particle, and because all electrons have a symbiotic relationship, they pop up another electron. So because all the electrons are connected, they break down to one electron, and through thought and intention, they pop out an electron in that space and time, although that's all an illusion because they understand that, and from there they re-manifest. Some of these crafts are motherships with smaller crafts on them. They come in all shapes and sizes, so it's a very broad spectrum of what these things are. It's not just one answer to cover it all.
Well, I appreciate the questions answered here, Peter. I want to ask you, so what do you have coming up next? What's going on in 2019? How can people find you?
So for the rest of 2019, events start up in September here in Australia, mainly around the Melbourne area. That will be followed by an early tour, or actually an early tour in 2020 around Australia. But people can go to petermaxwellslattery.com, and a lot of the evidence and analysations and documentaries and books are there, or they can go to ecittyaustralia.org and just keep posted for events when they start. And yes, thank you for having me on.
Appreciate it, Peter, and you keep your eyes on the skies over there and have that camera ready because we want to see more of your incredible videos. Now, I want to tell everybody right here at Third Phase of Moon, make sure you take a look at Peter Maxwell Slattery's website. We're going to be supplying the original links below. And as for you, you guys keep your eyes on the skies. We're not alone, and we'll see you again next time.
Oh, look at that power! Yeah! Whoa, that is massive, man!